about Rahu in the third house today. But before that, let us have a look as to what the third house is all about. Rahu in the third house. Rahu in the third house gives a person a strong need to develop oratory powers and creativity. Let us see how we come to this conclusion. But before we move to houses, let us check out the Karakas of Rahu once again. It is harsh speech. Rahu is very strong at twilight, going to a different country. Rahu is all about traveling. Rahu is also called an outcast. Rahu gives us a lot of fantasies because it is a planet that plays majorly with and in the mind. Rahu has an out-of-box approach. Rahu is the Karaka for gambling and falsehood. We saw in the second house, it gave a person a great ability to portray or lie also. Rahu is the Karaka of murder, extortion and blackmail. If we want certain amount of relief because of Rahu, then worshipping Ma Durga is something that is very much in our favor. Rahu is the enemy of the illuminaries. It represents a criminal mindset, and it is also all about smoke. So it represents cigarettes. Rahu is occult knowledge. Rahu is all about anger, exotic locations, and finally, Rahu is illusion personified. So what does the third house represent? This third house is also called Bhratrukaraka and Sahaj, etc. Mars rules the third house. It is the ruler of third house. It is the Karaka of the third house. And the third house is denoted by the area, which is the lower face area. It is the right eye, chin, nails, and then therefore also the neck. Third house is also shoulders and top of your chest. It is the first half of our teenage year when we need to time the third house. This is what we can do about it. And family members represent siblings in typical. It shows a great deal of interest and motivation in mental abilities. It shows a lot of proneness and patience, and you can earn great deal from oratory powers and from writing. Career, as far as the third house is concerned, can work into authorship, research, communication, publication, and intelligent careers. The third house, let's see what it represents further. Brothers and sisters, also step siblings and cousins, especially if you're living in a joint family. The right shoulder, right armpit, right arm, right side, upper lip, ribs, upper side of right neck portion of the back. In general, it takes the entire neck and the shoulders, but if you're doing for medical astrology, the right side of the body is represented by the first 6 houses. So the right shoulder, right armpit, right arm, right side of the upper ribs and upper side of the right portion of the back is given by the third house. Normal hard work or lack of it can be seen from the third house. Third house is very, very signified by boldness, by courage, by bravery, daring and dashing nature. Roughness and harshness of the nature is also seen from the third house. Our relationships with our siblings is something that we need to see from the third house. Improvement or deterioration of this attitude after or before marriage can be seen because third house is bhagya of marriage. Third house is also something that tells us about trembling of hand while writing, doing surgical procedures, and holding and using firearms. Third house is also firearms. Expertise and formation of strategy against enemy and care of a dead and injured personnel at war. Yes, Third house is also strategy and planning, and execution comes later. It's all about planning. It's all about giving things a structure and a form. Participation in competitions, and it's also about war and battle because courage and bravery associated with it. Support or lack of support by spouse figures with reference to social, religious, charitable activities. Cowardice on battlefield or active defection or surrender, or double dealing in spy activities. Let us check out what Rahu in third house typically denotes. It gives us ability to understand the human psyche and influence people. It gives one a very strong ability to encourage people, to be a figure in such a manner that you people are captivated by you. It has a courageous nature and the ability to vanquish enemies. Strong oratory powers can be seen. The ability to hone on to people, to influence people is very strong there. Writing abilities can be seen, and short-term travels and a lot of travels by air can be seen. There's a huge amount of practical approach to life that can be seen, and a philosophical approach to religion when Rahu is present in the third house. These people are very strong in their own convictions, and it's very difficult to deter them. They have very strong creative abilities. One more thing that can be seen is the ability to act as a spy. We've seen that third house has the spy and espionage, and an ability to act as a spy is huge with Rahu in the third house. So we move on to the examples. The first example that we move on to is that of Larry King. Larry King, as everybody knows, is the American talk show host, and he's a radio personality and a columnist, all working with Rahu in third house. He is one of the most potent talk show hosts with the Larry King Live on CNN TV, known for its commentary and debate on contemporary events. His show is tuned on into by more than 1.2 million American homes. This is something we really need to take a note. 1.2 million American homes. And is beamed to approximately 200 nations via satellite. His audience is global. He's also the author of many books. He lost his father very early in life, and being very close to his father, that fact traumatized him. As he gradually grew up to be a very naughty boy, he realized that there was something that he wanted to do a career in, and that was broadcasting. But he did not know how to go about achieving it. Once, when he was working as a porter at 250-watt AM station WAHR, he was suddenly asked to replace the morning DJ who had abruptly quit. And he was so afraid of talking that at that moment that he just switched on a few songs, and then the person who was the producer of the show came in and told him that this is a communication business. Larry switched on the mic, and because he was so anxious and so feared at that time, so fearful, he simply narrated what was going on. And his words are, from that day on, he has absolutely no fear of the mic. He moved from pillar to post, and today he is one of the most wanted talk show hosts, and he believes that the less he knows about his guests when they're on his show, the more better an interview he can conduct. So we also see an element of entertainment, but we also see a huge element of being able to understand what the human psyche is and working according to it. The next example is an all-time favorite, Al Pacino. Al Pacino is an American actor and a filmmaker. Al Pacino has had a career spanning for over 5 decades, during which time he has received numerous accolades and honor, both competitive and honorary. He achieved international acclaim and recognition for his breakthrough role as Michael Corleone in The Godfather. He is one of those people whose role is supposed to be an all-time favorite for generations, and this role has made him a success in life. Let's not forget that Rahu represents smoke, and in the third house of lungs and upper thoracic cavity, this gives him a great penchant for smoking. In fact, he took on smoking marijuana as early as 13 years of age, and he did not take on harder drugs either. It is said that during his high school, he attended the High School of Performing Arts, but he dropped out of school at the age of 17. His mother disagreed with his decision and he left college at a very early age. To finance his acting studies, he took low paying jobs as a messenger, janitor, and postal clerk. He also worked as a, in the mailroom for Commentary magazine. He had been knowing into getting into scuffle with people at a very early age. A very creative person, Al Pacino never married, but he still had three children. A very creative person, Al Pacino never married, but he still has three children. Third house is also bhagya of marriage, stability of marriage, and this was distinctly lacking in his case. Franklin D. Roosevelt, generally called FDR, was an American statesman and political leader who served as the 32nd President of the United States from 1933 until his death in 1945. So he served as a president for 4 straight terms, something that can never be repeated in history because as of now we know that a president of the US can only hold the post for 2 terms. His third and fourth term were dominated by the World War II. He's often rated by scholars as one of the 3 greatest US presidents, along with George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. If you read about him on Wikipedia, you would realize that he's had a great run as a president. However, we would also see that his marriage was something that left a lot to be desired. Again, this is a key trait with Rahu in the third house, that it does not generally allow or confer a happy marriage when placed in the third house. During the time when air travel was considered very risky, especially during the World War II, Franklin Roosevelt was one of those people who did not bother about such rules, and he traveled across the ocean because of the World War II. A very strong person in terms of getting things done for America, such that he strategized a lot of things with the Allied forces, such that the Allied won over the Axis powers. A great president and still remembered as one of the greatest. He proved to be a great statesman. His Julian Assange. He is an Australian computer programmer and the editor of WikiLeaks. He's the whistleblower. He's best known to have founded WikiLeaks, which is an investigative journalism internet-based organization whose mission is to make public otherwise secret information. In 2010 April, the world faced a great shock when it came to know through WikiLeaks such a lot of concealed data about the way and the functions of intelligence agencies. It was highly explosive and it brought to face a lot of unwanted and unwarranted stuff. As I earlier said, espionage and spying is also one of the very factors of the third house. Also, it gives him an ability to understand the human psyche, to work on it. For his unearthing such huge amount of data and to bringing it on the public forum, he has been rewarded with a number of warrants against him, and as such is facing trials in a number of countries. Julian Assange could not sustain his first marriage, and as such his family also received a number of threats on account of his work. That is why he prefers it to keep their identity concealed and reduce his contact with them. So we see oratory powers, creativity, and an interest for journalism is something which is very important when Rahu sits in the third house. Very important in its Jara activities, that is something that has no relation with the living of the third house. The third house somehow does not argument well when Rahu is sitting there for marriage. This is a point that we need to take note of and can be worked on for further research. If you've liked the video, please leave your comment behind, and the kind of videos that you like to watch, we would be there to make it for you. So, till we meet again, have a great time and stay safe.